Hi guys, so today I'm going to do a demo of me using my beauty blender, but that's kind of just the icing on the cake of this tutorial. It's really about how I mix foundations to get, you know, an almost perfect match for myself. I am going to use the Beauty Blender today, but you can totally just use a brush. I really like the Real Techniques buffing brush that's sold at Ulta in the package, or even better, that one's sold in the set, but there's also the Expert Face Brush. And that one is a really good shape, and the bristles are very dense. It's a lot like the buffing brush, but I think it's a little bit better, and it's sold individually. It's like $8.99. Or at least it was when I got it a few months ago from Ulta, or where you can get it at Ulta.com. And in the States, that's the only place where I know that it's sold. Excuse me, I'm kind of like coming down with something, I think. But I'm going to use the Beauty Blender today because that's what I like to use with this foundation. But I normally do this with brushes. So you can do this with a brush. You can probably even do it with your fingers. So I'm going to show you guys how I do it. And I've got my moistened Beauty Blender ready. I have on just moisturizer right now, and I'm gonna get right into it. So let me grab my Beauty Blender and my foundation, and we'll get started. Okay, so this is my Beauty Blender. I've moistened it so it's larger right now, and the foundation that I'm going to be using is Makeup Forever's Face and Body, and I've got it in 2 shades. This is number 34, the lighter one, and the darker one is number 18. This one's much closer to me, so what I do for my current complexion is, it's actually even fading. I'm starting to lose my tan. But what I do is use 2 parts of 18 to 1 part of 34. And if you have 2 foundations that are, you know, kind of close to you and you're trying to figure out your ratio, a good place to start is 50-50. I used 50-50 and I felt like it was a little bit too light, but I can see myself using 50-50 when I completely lose my tan, like probably in another couple of months or so, because my summer tan sticks around for a while. But I'm just shaking these because you really have to shake these up. They're, sorry for the squeaking, that's my dog playing with his toy. But you have to really shake these up because it's a water-based foundation. I think it's like 70% water. Anyway, I'm going to pop these open. And I'm going to take 2 pumps of the darker color, number 18, and pump them on the back of my hand. I'm going to take 1 pump of 34. And right now it just looks like this. And I'm going to just dip my sponge into it and blend the, blend the product onto my face. So I'm just dipping my sponge, the bottom of my sponge, and I'm just going to grab a mirror and just work this on. So I stipple with this, and I never just take this and drag it or buff with this. I just stipple like this. I just bounce the sponge onto my face, and I have some pretty bad marks right now, like scars from breakouts, but I'm not going to cover them with concealer because I want you guys to see the coverage of this foundation. This is a light, some people say light to medium coverage foundation, but I really, really like it. And I do like my blemishes to be covered, but I just use concealer first for that normally, but I want you guys to see how this looks on its own. So I don't really think any foundation is going to cover this right now because it's just such a dark blemish. It was a really bad breakout, but anyway. So just when it, you know, when it looks like it's blended in, just move on. It looks too light in this lighting right now. It's definitely going to settle down. Okay, so I'm just going to take more. I tend to use a lot of foundation, especially this one. So I think that the Beauty Blender is a good choice for this Face and Body foundation by Makeup Forever, because when you use a brush, it kind of wants to harden on the brush right away. This foundation likes to dry really quickly, for whatever reason. I didn't expect that because it's like so runny and liquidy. You can kind of see it running, but it dries really fast. And since the Beauty Blender is, you know, you wet it to use it, It makes it a little easier to work with. It gives you some more time to get your blending done, which is especially important when you're mixing shades. So I'm just stippling, just bouncing the back of the sponge onto my face. Getting what's left on my hand, go over my chin and mouth area. And then I'm going to get some more for my forehead. Two pumps of dark, one pump of light. And you know, it doesn't look like it's going to come together, but it does. It just does as you're blending onto your face, and it would the same way with a brush. And actually, excuse me, toward the end of the video, I'm going to come back and show you guys the bottles and tell you the different shades, just in case you're close to my shade, the different shades that I mix of different foundations, because I have a few that I mixed to get a color I like more, you know. And I think that in my shade range, I'm roughly like MAC NC44 or NC45, I think. I don't use MAC foundation, but I think that's when I used to use Pro Longwear, I was NC45. And I don't know, I just think that in my shade range, it's really hard to find. I'm going to get more foundation. But in my shade range, it's really hard to find your perfect color in one bottle. A lot of things are going to want to go orange or too yellow or something. And it's just hard to find that perfect match, you know, both undertone and depth in one bottle. You know, so I'm going to take the, oh, I did this earlier with my eyes, but I didn't mention it. I'm going to take a little foundation, dab it under my eyes with the pointed end of the Beauty Blender, which this is really handy for that. And I'm also going to take some foundation and work it into the areas around my nostrils because otherwise it's hard to reach in there with this sponge. So I really do like this sponge. I'm going to blend along the jawline. Just keep blending anything that looks like it needs some more blending. But I really like how this looks so far. And we're pretty much done with getting that foundation on. So, I think I'm gonna go ahead and also use this with my concealer. So give me 1 second while I grab that. Hey, so I'm gonna use the Bobbi Brown Corrector today in the color Dark Peach to correct my under eye circles. I kind of have mixed feelings about this product, but I guess that's a story for a different video. What I like to do with most of my under eye concealers is put a little Smashbox photo finish underneath my eyes first to prime under the eyes. Also, like, I just think that sometimes you need a little moisturizer under your under eye concealer, but a lot of creams kind of don't work well with the makeup you're trying to get to adhere. And this is like a good way to get a little moisture under there, I think. So I'm just dotting a tiny amount on under my eyes. And what I like to do is, like, the residue that's left on my finger, I like to work that into the corrector. Because this can get kind of like dry and stiff to work with. And I'm gonna apply this. Usually I use a brush, but I think my brush is dirty. A finger's okay. It's Sunday, so it's like wash my brushes day. May have used a little too much, what do you call it? Primer. So I'm gonna take this other ring finger that doesn't have as much primer. No, it doesn't have any primer. And you know what? I'm like blending this in because sometimes I blend this with my finger, but I really meant to just place it on and use my Beauty Blender to blend it out. So, also you can like, people may feel weird about this because this is moist, but you can, this is such a, the product gets kind of difficult to work with and hard, so you can just dip your Beauty Blender in to get some on this, but I don't think that really gives you enough. I think you should put a little on your face first and just work that in. It actually looks really good and non-cakey when you use this little pointed end of your Beauty Blender to put on your under eye concealer. Should have dipped. Okay, so my base is done. Easy breezy, right guys? There's not that much to it. So actually, you know what I'm gonna do is finish off the rest of my face, and then I'm gonna come back and tell you about all the foundations that I mixed to get what I feel like is a perfect color for me. So I'm gonna just finish up my face and I'll be back. Okay, so as you saw, I used Makeup Forever Face and Bodies number 34 and number 18. I use Smashbox Studio Skins number 3.4 and number 4.1. And for this one, in the summer I can go 50-50, but this one's pretty dark, so probably 2 parts this to 1 part this for right now would work. I use Makeup Forever's HD foundation in the color 170, and I didn't want to buy, so this is on the light side, like it's really close but it's a little bit light, and I didn't want to buy 173 because this foundation's really nice, I like the coverage, blah blah blah, but it's a little bit too dewy for my skin, so because I have combination oily skin, and so I actually mix this sometimes with the same like darker Makeup Forever HD Face and Body, and that works really nicely either with a brush or with the sponge. And I also use Nars Sheer Glows Tahoe and Syracuse. I'm a lot closer to Tahoe. Tahoe works for me in the summer, but when I start to lose my tan, I mix a little bit of Syracuse. The only thing about this, you can buy pumps for this, but this foundation's already $42, and then I think the pump is like $6 each. And if it were me, every time I change the bottle, I would want to change the pump. So like, I do recommend trying to stick to foundations with a pump, whether you have to buy it or not, but foundations with a pump when you're mixing, because that's how, you know, I don't even bother with this that much. I'll either just use, I can't use Syracuse alone, that's too light, but I'll use Tahoe alone, or else I won't even bother with these. I have gotten a really nice color from mixing them, but it's inconsistent because I don't have a pump for these, so I can't count and like remember, okay, 2 pumps of this, 1 pump of that, or 2 and 2 or whatever. I can't count because I'm just putting it on the back of my hand and eyeballing it. So that's the only thing about these, and it's such a shame because I love the finish and the coverage and how this has no fragrance. I love so much about Nars Sheer Glow, but I usually just stick to Tahoe, I don't know. And some people will mix in the bottles, but I just feel like, at least my complexion, it kind of constantly changes. It fades it gradually gets darker in the summer and gradually gets lighter again in the winter. So I feel like if you mix a whole bottle of something, you're constantly going to be trying to alter it, and it just sounds like messy and cumbersome, but it's up to you. I prefer to mix every single time. And it's really no problem at all. It's a cinch when you have pumps on your foundation. So I like to use the Real Techniques Expert Face Brush in with all of these except for the Makeup Forever's Face and Body, which I use with the Beauty Blender because this dries really fast, and the just the sponge being moist and stuff, it just works out really well. So I really hope that that was helpful. I think you guys can tell I got a really good match from 2 parts of 18 and 1 part of 34. And these foundations do have a fragrance, but they haven't broken me out, I don't think, and they're really good foundations. I just really like these. They stay on really well. They don't transfer. Besides the fragrance, I have no complaints about this, and I really just wish they would make a version or just remove the fragrance. Anyway, I think that that's it. If you guys have any questions, please leave them below, and I'm gonna leave all product information below of all everything I mentioned and used. And I hope that you find this helpful. If you did like it, then please rate it thumbs up. Subscribe so that you don't miss more videos if you did find this helpful. And I just want to say thank you for watching. Until next time, bye. I use Makeup Forever HD's 170, and I didn't want to buy, oh my gosh. Babe, I just dropped my foundation in the middle of the video.
Oh my god.
Like, okay.
Hold on a minute. Oh my goodness.
Okay. I use Makeup Forever's oh my god. I can't say it now.